Okay, hello. Hopefully you can hear me. The test showed that you should be able to hear me. And I'm making biscuits and gravy. Just had oral surgery like 2 days ago, so we're gonna see how this works. And I wanted to do something simple. I'm not making biscuit batter. I might save that for another video. Let's see. How biscuits go. I'm just doing these Pillsbury Grands. They work. Put them in the oven, 375, and should be about 12, 15 minutes. And I have some sausage that I'm going to cook up as well. So let me grab that. Don't know how much background noise this thing picks up. I'll have to listen to it later. But I just got regular Jimmy Dean sausage, nothing special. My skillet's heated, my oven's heated, and probably going to use a timer here, so hopefully I don't burn anything. It is a bit distracting filming and cooking. I'm getting better at it though. I go to my phone. Cool. Phones are good for something. Make a stopwatch out of it. Can everyone hear me okay? And hello, Christopher, Dustin, and Vanessa. Turn my heat down a little bit. And I'm going to put these in the oven. You can use a cookie sheet too, I just didn't have any. And it's supposed to be nonstick, but force of habit, I still put something on it. Okay. The spatula gets used for one skillet. That's cast iron skillet, and that's it. And hopefully this won't be too loud. Let me get this pop-up off the screen. For some reason, the pop-ups, like the pop-up just where the chat thing is, over on the right-hand side of the screen. So that pops up and it covers up the chat. I'm also trying to get used to using a computer to film with. Maybe eventually get another camera too for like 2 different angles or something. But I've got about 2 pounds of sausage. That'll work. All right, is the pan the noise from the pan too much, or can you still hear me? Just kind of spread it out in the pan, break it up a little bit. As it cooks, you're going to break it up a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not a fancy chef. This is like literal home cooking. Try not to play with that too much. Turn it down a little bit more. So we're going to need the grease. And I've got flour, I've got milk, and my biscuits are in the oven. But it's a simple meal, and I was going to do this with like Spam and evaporated milk. I may do that again at some point. Just like a prepper sort of recipe thing. You have no power. My fridge went out this week and it decided to work again, so it's working for now, but I'm going to have to get another fridge at some point. And, well, it just got me thinking, like, I live in a hurricane prone area, and it's just good to have stuff like that that you can just throw together, much less the world events or anything, or being without power for a week like it was last winter. So having condensed milk, not condensed, that's sweet, evaporated milk and stuff you can make gravy with, or even powdered milk would work. Like Mom used to put in the milk container, and it was cold, but it tasted different, and it worked. We didn't starve. So when my mom was doing this, it was usually more SOS, and we were lucky to have biscuits. It would be like toast and gravy. Hopefully you had sausage or something like that to make the gravy with. If not, it was just literally making gravy in a pan and pouring it over toast. But it was still good, and we did not starve. See if I can read the comments. Cooking with gas a lot different than electric. Yes, it is different. My stove, not all the burners work on it. I prefer gas. It's more even, and you don't have to worry about it looking cold and having kids put their hand on it. I remember when my mom had electric stoves in some of the places we lived, that I burnt my hand a time or two on the stove, and for most of my life I've had kids running around the house. So it's like, turn the handles in, all that sort of stuff. So hopefully your kids don't get burned by the stove, but mine are all grown now, and I'm actually cooking more sausage than I usually would. I don't know why, I just did. I put 2 pounds in here rather than a pound. Usually it would be like a pound of sausage and make some biscuits, but I decided to go the route of 2 pounds, and this should turn out okay. It's not really measurements making gravy. Kind of is, kind of isn't. You're adding flour until it gets mixed in with the meat pretty well, and it takes up all your oil, your grease from the sausage. And then you start adding some milk to it and bring it up to the consistency that you want. My cat's going to be upset here in a minute. She keeps wanting to get down on the counter. And I have a towel over there to place the biscuits on. So I kind of need another camera so I can do like a different angle where it's not just over the stove. I need one over the stove because that's what's going on. But I kind of need one over the counter too. I'm getting there. Let's kind of chop this stuff up as I go. And it's gonna brown, and I get it just a little bit crispy, just because I like sausage that way. This isn't one of those things with a meat thermometer and checking everything out. It's more, okay, that looks good. Let's add flour. And yes, I chop everything up with the spatula going through. Check my comments out. Mad sexy. Oh, you heard biscuits and gravy. Yes, that's what I'm making. It was literally going to be spam and gravy, but I might do that later. I've got everything to do it, but it's essentially the same thing, but you'd fry up your spam first, and then you'd make your gravy with it, and then make rice or something, you know, about, 3 weeks into the apocalypse, and everything's bad, and you're going through canned goods, and you want to make something that tastes a little better. I don't know. I don't think things would ever be that bad, but I do know a lot of preppers, and I do prep a little bit myself, but mine's more just because after Hurricane Ike, we did not have power for 6 weeks. Last winter, we didn't have power for a week because I guess the windmills froze and someone shut down the nuclear power plant. So even if you're not, that level prepper or anything, you should have, dry goods, stuff that you can make food with, canned meat, canned milk, butter, and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot you can do. I mean, I can make buttermilk from milk. I can make butter. I might do those in future videos. But there's a lot if you've got the canned goods to go ahead and make everything. Where do I live? I live kind of northeasterly of Houston, out on the edge of the thicket. I'm not in the thicket. It's National Swampland Preserves, but our preserves. But I'm close enough that we have a lot of alligators and hogs. And had a neighbor a while back posted pics, had I think 40 hogs in her front yard tearing everything up. They're destructive. Tasty, but destructive. Not too many small pets running around or anything like that because, well, we have alligators. And if you have a small pet, they don't run outside much. There's a bayou not too far from here that I live off of. Good crappie fishing. There's good catfish if you get up next to the bridge. You can get some other fish if you go out to the lake. It's a few minutes in a boat if you want to go that far, but usually no need. I just sit on the bank and have my little fishing hole and kind of know where I want to cast the line. Which I guess is another prepper thing. I do have a source of fresh water as long as it's not a drought. And I am cooking more meat than I would usually cook. So bear with me, this is taking a little bit longer. kind of chop them up. Hopefully that's not too loud hitting the skillet. I was having problems with my burners earlier today. I couldn't get the flames to come out. Basically because I was cleaning it. I guess they might have still had like a little water or something in it. Finally got it to come out, but the gas came out under the burner at first. So that looked a little bit scary. Check for my biscuits. Okay, those are just about done. You don't want to open that up too quick. Preheat the oven, 350, 375. I've got mine at 375. And try not to open the door too much. If you have glass in front, that's awesome. You can just look in there, but I don't. This thing's like, I think, about 30 years old, maybe. Old hot point stove, and it is what it is. It works. I've cooked on it for years, and I've usually got at least 2 burners going on it, and it works. What's that? Zombie, that's the best gravy. Ever fixed gravy with bacon grease? Yes, I have. There would usually be a container sitting around here somewhere. It's just an old mason jar with bacon grease in it, but I just washed it. Every once in a while you have to do that. It's a classic stove. Yeah, it's not antique. If it was antique, I would like it better. I would love to have one of those big, like 1950s gas stoves that are about twice as wide as this thing is, and done up in colors and everything, like 1950s. Those were awesome. I would do my whole kitchen in that theme if I could get one. Like, what was that show a while back? WandaVision. Basically, the Scarlet Witch lost her mind. Okay, this shouldn't take too much longer. Start getting some flour ready. Okay, that's not good. I just broke a measuring cup. I broke the handle on it right there. So I have flour on the floor. And I need to take these biscuits out. So, alright, Cat, you need to move. Move! Amanda's sacrifice all you want. You need to move. Yeah, I have 4-legged critters running around my house. And I'll show these up here. These are my biscuits. Move. Will you move? Get up there. Go. And that is Lola, the cat. She's very offended. She thought I laid that towel out just for her to lay on. Okay, now it's starting to get there. Cast iron skillet, and why I use the metal spatula only on this, scraping the bottom. You do not want to use a metal spatula on most of the other skillets because they have all those non-stick coatings and everything on them, and you'll scratch them. And I do have those kind of skillets too. I grew up with cast iron, so I'm kind of more comfortable with it. Okay, now we have a mastiff in here too. They might get talkative. Hopefully not. It's usually not Lola that gets in a fight with him. It's usually Chloe. And Chloe doesn't care. She will take him on toe to toe with a big old mastiff. But she's sneaky about it. She'll get down on the edge of the counter, get nose to nose with them, and she'll meow at him like she's gonna play with him, and he's like big dumb dog. He gets up there wagging his tail and he's all happy, and he's like, "You want to play with me?" And about the time they get nose to nose, she'll come with like a right claw right across the nose, and then they go round and round, and it looks like the Tom and Jerry cartoon where you got the lady chasing the dog with the broom, chasing the cat, and there's no rat, hopefully, but going in circles at that point. Okay, that's starting to get where I want it. It's like with a pound of sausage, it usually takes about 15 minutes. And I use 2 pounds, and we're about, I don't know, 18 minutes into cooking the sausage. I want to get some more of those little dark pieces in there. Let me see what's saying. Guns and barbecue. I'm cooking your, that says crack. Awesome, awesome. I'll be your dealer. Your cat went to investigate too. Teflon will make you sick. I've heard stuff about that. And then there's the debate over, what was it, copper, and everybody had the copper pans, and then, okay, copper might make you sick, might not, and you got brass, and they try everything. I haven't heard anything about cast iron being bad for you. They even come pre-seasoned now, and I don't think I've used one of those skillets yet. All I know is I get really mad if somebody puts my skillet in the dishwasher or the sink or any of that. That's basically a quick way to start a fight. Amy cooks too, but she cooks different things, and she cooks really, really good. Like the best lasagna that I've ever ate. She uses a lot of ricotta cheese, and it's amazing. She doesn't really like meatloaf, but she makes the best meatloaf I've ever ate. She's more that style. But we grew up different. I grew up very poor. So I'm the kind that I go through the cabinet after somebody says that there's nothing to eat, and I pull a couple of things out and throw something together and say, here, there's food. So, but that's what I grew up with. And you will want to scrape the bottom every once in a while. You want it to sit there and just get that little bit of a crisp to it, just for flavor because it's sausage. But you do want to scrape the bottom. I need a better mitt or something so I can grab the skillet. I'm definitely not grabbing it right now. I just move it back where I want it with the spatula. Maybe about another minute. No, it's about where I want it. Coolness. I don't know if many of y'all use cast iron, but that's mostly what I grew up with. I'm going to start adding flour. Now, this is kind of broken a little bit now. There's a difference between scooping and filling. You really don't want to scoop when you're measuring things. You kind of push it in with your hand, or you pour in, you get more accurate measurements. When you scoop, you kind of pack the flour in there, so your measurements can be off on some recipes. I went through there to scoop, and well, I broke the handle. Live on air, I broke a kitchen utensil. Yes, I'm going to add more flour to this. And that is a cat in the background meowing at my wife for a treat. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Turn this down a little bit. Let's mix it in good. Let's mix it in with the meat good. And here in just a second, I will start adding milk. Let's see what the chat says. Okay, now we're getting to the good part. I keep bumping this camera with my head, the hat on. We've been cleaning today and had a cabinet that I picked up that we wanted to move in the house, and it's solid wood. Thing was heavy. Okay. Oh. And you can basically keep adding flour and milk until you get it to the consistency that you want. Putting a little in here because I don't want to burn it. And it's going to need a lot more, as you can tell. So far, I've only got a cup of flour in there and probably a cup and a half, 2 cups of milk. And mix it around good. If you put a little bit too much milk, you can always add a little bit of flour. This is going to be a lot of gravy. Right there, kind of mix it in. I don't know what possessed me to do 2 pounds instead of 1. Now that's starting to look better. And yes, this can be messy. We're getting near the point of adding salt and pepper, and that is kind of a taste thing. Anything you cook, I would suggest tasting. Even better for your flour if you're seasoning it, better like for your fried chicken and stuff, taste your flour. It helps. If you've got company or something like that, you're going to want to probably use a separate spoon, like in an actual professional kitchen, where they would walk around with a spoon and they wouldn't dip it back in there twice, because, well, your kids might not mind. If you have guests over, they might. So, a spoon. To be honest, that's nearly perfect how it is. And I'm going to put some pepper in there, just because that's me. I keep wanting to child-proof all of this stuff. And half of it you can't open unless you have a child around to open it for you. So I don't think that's technically child-proof. It's got enough salt. The sausage has enough seasoning in it, like if you're using like Jimmy Dean or something like that. So I'm saying taste it first, because you don't want to over salt it. And I tend to use a lot of pepper, so I'm putting pepper in here. I did turn my heat down. I'll turn it down a little bit more. I'm going to stir all this in, and then I'll get a plate, and we will fix this. As you can see, it's starting to thicken up. And if you want it thinner, add a little bit more milk. If you want it thicker, add a little bit more flour, or you can cook it longer. But as you do this, it will thicken up. And a lot of this is subjective, as anyone who's made gravy in particular would be able to tell you. It's, you want it thicker, you want it thinner, you want it saltier, what have you. Sorry about that. The cat made a running leap off the counter. Run for her life. As it may be. In fact, I'll turn the heat off. Which one do I want? I got this one. Yeah, I need a metal spoon, but it's not in there long enough to worry about it. And I have a critic in the other room. Okay, I need to think of where I'm going to put things a little bit more ahead of time. There we go. I think this is called learning on the job. And this is biscuits and sausage gravy. Mine's a little thicker. I like it thicker. I like more sausage in it. You can make it thinner, a little bit runnier. Just add a little bit more milk to it. And that is my dinner. So let me see what y'all are saying. Might have to pull this up on whatchamacallit first. Okay, hopefully that didn't squeal. I was pulling the thing up. Ever try this with habaneros? I've tried it with really spicy sausage, but I could try that. A regular spoon may help the stirring part. It might. Just growing up, not too many utensils. You try not to dirty too many of them. That's more dishes to wash. Hello, She Fires. Thank you. And that crunching you hear is, I think, my dog hungry going back to his bowl because he's going to want some of these biscuits too. Out the same way. Guns and barbecue. I always keep a baggie of flour on hand. Yes, I do too. That's it. Ain't pour until you're baking water and flour as a paste cracker. Oh, you have a point there. I just always thought the milk tasting funny in the fridge was a clue. Because at one time, powdered milk was cheap. And my mom, she'd buy like a milk jug and we would use the milk and then she'd just make powdered milk and put it in the fridge. And you had powdered milk in there. That's just what it was. I don't know if she's ever going to join in. She may not. I don't know if she wants to be on camera. So we will see one day. She's got a few recipes that I would love for her to make, And actually, her banana pudding is awesome. It's like my favorite of anywhere. And I would love to get my mom also making like her tacos. That that is the one dish that I request from my mother is her tacos. In fact, I moved her down here from Oklahoma. At the time, I had my own truck and trailer, and I had a bunch of logistics equipment. Because in the summertime, I would do trade shows and concerts, that sort of thing. So you're picking up switches and cables, stuff like that, fiber boxes for concerts, and you go to BuzzFest, Edgefest, Coachella, NFL, WWE, halftime events, that sort of thing. And then you would do gun shows and cabinet shows and all kinds of shows that you can think of. But it slows down in the winter, so I would haul hazmat in the winter. But I had all this equipment, the same thing that bed buggers use, or household movers. We call them bed buggers. And, I've got 250 moving blankets. I've got 16-foot split ramps. I've got all kinds of dollies and straps and logistics beams so I can deck a trailer and put 2 floors in it. And I went up to Oklahoma because she was driving, like 20 miles one way to work at a dollar store and 20 miles the other way to work at a gas station because the smoke shop she worked at burnt down. And there's just, middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, there's no real work. And I loaded everything up. I put her car in the trailer and brought her back down here to Texas, and she got a job with an oil company. And she's doing a whole lot better. I didn't move her real close to me, though. It's close enough that I can go visit, but far enough away that we're out of each other's business, I don't think I would want my mom living right next door, but close enough that we can visit anytime we want to. That works. That's better than being 8-9 hours away. That's way better than that. My sister still lives up there, though, and she usually comes down on the holidays. Dustin Cornelius. Forgive me on pronunciation. I did have oral surgery recently. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm about to eat what I fixed. So let me see. Pull the chat up over here on this thing. Thickens as it cools too. Yes, it does. Yeah, I'm at that age where I'm the same age my grandparents were when me and most of my cousins were born. I can remember my grandparents not much older than me. I can remember my mom in her 20s going from being like a hippie to urban cowboy and boots and jeans and all that stuff. It just puts everything in this weird perspective. Time marches on, that sort of thing. But, hold on. What did you get all over the floor? Sorry, noise in the background there. She's wanting to clean, and I don't know how much of that is picking up on the camera, but yes, family is very, very important. There's fewer and fewer of us as time goes on, and then there's the next generation, but it's kind of like that song, Time Marches On. I always like that song. And anyways, my food's going to get cold, and this is my supper, so I'm going to have to get off of here. One of these days, I'll come up with some cool segue for ending a chat, but I do not have that currently. But I would like to thank all of you for viewing this video of me cooking biscuits and gravy. And I will cook something else next week. I don't know what I'm going to cook yet, but thank you so much for watching this video. And I'm going to go ahead and shut it off now.